in terms of the nerdier aspects of playing technique-wise of the harpsichord and the piano, what are some of the changes in the approach, like physiologically, that you have to go through when you're switching between those two instruments?
I think what I like to think about is, how does the instrument speak? The harpsichord speaks in a very direct way, and in a way in which you can feel the moment before it speaks, in that you can feel the tension of the string on the plug. And that's all you're doing, is you feel that, you exert enough force to do that, right? The way you approach the key and how you leave the key, also really important in well, I think it's important in all keyboard playing. But I specifically really started thinking about it when I play harpsichord, is how you leave the key is just as important as how you approach the key. And how you do that is determined by what kind of gesture do you want to make. So do you want to make a nice soft ba and have a nice rounded ending? Well, you have a slow approach and a slow release. How you approach and release slowly obviously will change depending on the instrument. With piano, the speaking mechanism, you don't feel the speaking mechanism. You just don't. You just kind of press it down and it goes blunk, right?
It's a smoother, just kind of like you sail into the note a little smoother. I'm not a harpsichordist, for full disclosure, so that people listening. But in terms of the piano, I feel like there's a bounciness to it. You can feel the bounce of the hammer coming back. And, so for people who don't know, the harpsichord is plucking the string, and it's like building the tension that Francis is talking about right before you play, because you're actually kind of like winding up for the pluck, right? More or less.
Sure, yeah.
Versus a piano, the hammers are all resting, away from the keys, and then you press the key so that the hammer just goes right into it and bounces away from it immediately. Yeah. And so that bounce is something I feel and hear when playing the piano, and it helps me for sure, especially depending on what kind of music you're playing. Do you have any kind of bounce in the harpsichord, or is it more about the pluck, the tension, the pluck, and then the release?
It's always the pluck.
Right.
You ride the pluck, I've been told. You're riding the pluck. And that's really all you're thinking about. And how you pluck is what the sound.